It's good, my ninjas. It is your boy Yinko coming at you with ITP Impromptu Tea Party. I have my host here with me, Freshness for real. Say what's up, Fresh.
What is up, people? I'm back. We are back. It's good to be back. Fresh for real. The Drunken Immortal, aka Houseway.
And we have a special guest here with us. He is a longtime friend of mine, a first-time friend for Fresh, and he's gonna be possibly a regular, maybe if he could get his shit together. Soul Reaper. Say something, Fresh.
You didn't know. But yeah, this just me, regular shit. Let's do it.
What happened? What happened to
He the best hacker in the game.
What happened to the French's game?
French is gay.
French is gay, dude.
French is gay. You must heard.
It's your boy, Mustard. You must heard what it is. French's gang. Free my man Butter doing life in the box. Let's go.
You must heard. Shout out to my man Butter doing life in the box. Alright. Anyway, so we are jumping on the hype train with new Genesis that was dropped during the Xbox Games Reveal segment. I want to say sometime last week. I can't remember when, but huge hype in the PSO2 community because it is PSO2, but PSO3, but not PSO3. As confusing as that is. But we're going to be giving our thoughts. We're going to be giving our thoughts as far as what we thought about the trailer reveal, as well as the additional information that they put out in another trailer, and just what we liked, what we didn't like, the possibilities. So we'll let XO Reaper kick this whole thing off. So give us your thoughts on this, my guy.
Get the ball rolling.
I'm liking the direction that was going. We was just actually talking about this probably a couple of days ago, talking about, if the graphics on PSO2 was changed up a bit, but would it have to sacrifice certain other aspects in the game? And voila, here we go. Open field. Looks like it's going to have more of a, trying to think of the name of the game, Monster Hunter feel to it, the way the open world is going to be. And I can't wait.
Okay. Cool. All right, Fresh, you kick it off now.
I got a little bit of a word vomit when it comes to this. Because, alright, so
Vomit away.
it says twin universes of PSO exist side by side. And I'm good with that. I'm cool with that. I play games that have updates, I had patches and stuff like that. What is with this whole characters will also be able to move their fingers now? Like, why is that a big point? I really don't see why that's a big thing, but I do like the new graphics overhaul. I wish that they would release the graphics overhaul for PSO2 now or sometime in the near future, and then do new Genesis next year whenever. I don't see why we have to wait for both of them, especially seeing as how we still have PSO2 for a whole another year or so, half a year, whatever, until this whole thing gets released. But the character customization does look real good. I'm a huge fan of what I saw in the trailer with the fluid movement. Your character looks a lot more loose, fluid, and just real, which is what I like. To me, this graphic update puts this in the round to compete with Final Fantasy 14, which is one of, in my opinion, the greatest MMOs I've ever played in a long time. So it puts the graphics on that level, which is nice, because like Soul said, we were just talking about like I just started on Division 2, and Division 2 looks like, a movie when I'm playing it, and then I come back to PSO2 and it's like Roblox. So that's where I'm at with this. What about you, Yank?
Well, I definitely agree. As far as the graphics does need an overhaul, but I'm excited. It's going to be a new feel. It's going to be a new thing. It's not going to be the streamlined map design that they have, which probably back then, 8 years ago in 2012, that was a thing. It's more along the lines of like, yeah, it's side by side, but it's kind of PSO3 because, as they said, it's 1,000 years forward after after the big fight. So I mean, it's even though they didn't necessarily call it PSO3. I mean, it is kind of PSO3 just because it's a continuation. It's a continuation. I thought it was an update at first. I thought it was for sure an update. But I mean, just from the graphics, the movement, the open world, just how much, how they said that the terrain is going to be changing over time. As far as daytime, nighttime, I don't know if that will go as far as overtime, like depending on what we do throughout the game. I mean, but I do like that aspect. I've always wanted to see that aspect of an open world game, as to what we do or the actions that we've done, like considerably change the terrain of the map, or at least of the environment that we're in. So that's going to be exciting. Customization, I don't.
I agree.
What's up? Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No. I was gonna agree with you. I've watched a couple of YouTubers, um, one in particular who had mentioned that he doesn't like the fact that it's going to be open world. He's not a fan of it, but I'm like, I love it. That, to me, that's the bread and butter of an MMO. Go where you want, you do what you want. Like, PSO is fun. It is. It's very fun. I like the game, but this whole, like, all the levels have a start and a finish. There's a point where you begin and a point where you end, and there is no, I'm gonna just throw you in this map and you can go wherever. Like, I remember being in WoW, and I mean, you could just hop on a dragon and mountain. You can go anywhere. And so I agree with you. I love that this is going to be open world, and I love that new dash feature too. Because having something where you can run a little bit faster is
Yeah,
great.
the photon dash and the photon glide is what they're called, because you can also glide in the game as well, which also is going to be a question. Will we, aside from having the photon dash and the photon glide, will we have more viable ways of being able to traverse that environment? I mean, that's going to be definitely almost like a Warframe is type thing. Like, are we gonna have that, like, where later on down the line they wind up introducing like a hoverboard, and then they wind up introducing the things that you can use on space. Got the arch wings, and so it also comes to where, like, will we be able to do that? Will we actually? I mean, we haven't gotten to that part in PSO2 yet. I mean, they do have space battles, but
I, with space battles is different though. I think they will go a different route with space battles, because
What is space
if you look
battle?
at our characters, they'll probably have to do spaceships as opposed to just our characters flying around in space. Um, if you're talking about like the battles where we're on the platform, I don't think they can change that much about that. You're
well,
thinking about the arc wings from
yeah, the arc wings, yeah, the
Warframe.
arch wings from Warframe, but they do have that later on down the line in PSO2. to where it's like you go in these Gundams. You go in these Gundams and that's what you're fighting you're fighting a boss in space. But I mean, but that's another question. Will we have something more along the lines of how Warframe did it with? I mean, granted, it won't be physically our characters per se, but I mean, will there be, to where we can traverse, to where we can be able to fly to other planets? Like, how will we go down? Instead of just the jumping into the pool and we just guiding the sprite. Will it show us going down to the planet itself, landing? I mean, that all comes down to what they try to do with this with NGS. I mean, you can't do it. I mean, that would mean a huge overhaul of the game itself with PSO2 originally, but with NGS, like, does that say that we'll have that? It's exciting. It's exciting to think about that, just because of the simple fact that when we got PSO2 to come over to the NA side, to say that the game was 8 years old, me, Fresh, we were all hyped for it. We were all hyped. I couldn't get my mind off of this game just because of how good it was. Which comes to another aspect that I am hoping that they change with New Genesis is the story. Because doing the fucking story in this game is a fucking snooze fest. It's literally I've fallen asleep just with my character standing there talking to somebody, and I have to press A and I have to press A and I have to press A to continue the dialogue to keep going. It's a fucking snooze fest, and I'm hoping that they do something about that, about the story. Because, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm not worried about the story because this is a looter game at the end of the day. But, I mean, I want to.
It's a lure. You still want to have some.
Like some type of game
itself.
I want to be interested in the world, like not just be like, oh, like the graphics look good. I get to do all of this flashy shit. Like, okay, well that's cool. Well, what's the story behind? What's the story behind the fall spawn or the new enemy that's coming out? Like, what's the story behind our character? What's the story behind, why 1,000 years forward? Like just the question why is gonna be, it's just gonna be a lot on its own. And I hate coming back to this, but Mass Effect. I mean, you got. I mean, it wasn't a looter. It was essentially a story based RPG, but I mean, at the end of the day though, like you still got better guns, you still got better armor that you could use and shit like that. Like it wasn't something that you had to farm or anything like that, but it was still, the story was just so good and so dynamic. And when the DLCs came out, it was just it dived so deep into the side characters and shit like that. It was just fantastic the way that they did it. Aside from Andromeda, because Andromeda doesn't exist in my eyes, but I mean, it makes you that game was garbage, but it just makes you wonder, like, the possibilities with NGS. And if they can do this game right, if they could do the story right, if they can make the open world good, interesting, dynamic, interactive, changing, I'd even say
gotta be.
I mean, I'd even
it has to be, bro.
I'd even go along the lines of like, say, like a big boss battle that we've had. It completely changes the environment around us. Like completely changes it. Like and especially with the Xbox Series X coming out, it's supposed to be extremely powerful, quote unquote. So like it to have that type
They
of
need to
system.
take advantage of that
Exactly.
of
They
that
need.
power.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now,
So
what are what are the things that you noticed? What are the aside from the graphical differences? Like, what were some things that you guys noticed watching the trailer?
What I mean, let me just address this one fact.
Mm-hmm.
New Genesis is gonna have some pretty big shoes to fill off the strength that skill rings, consumable items, boost items, materials, furnishings, levels, XP, class skills, photon arts, and techniques are not gonna be shared. Like, so let me make that more specific. Let me use my fighter. So you saying that forget the levels, forget the experience. I'm talking about my photon arts and my class skills. Like, I'm not gonna be like, my fighter's not gonna be the same. You, I'm trying to tell you, you gotta have some like, you gotta be ballsy to not include those type of things and still try to say that this game is gonna be alongside PSO2. So either like you gonna have some Super Saiyan type of characters that you can make on New Genesis, and that's another thing. Let's just play advocate for a second. Let's just say the characters that you can make or that you will make on New Genesis are like super OP. Who's gonna want to play Fantasy Star Online 2? NA. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm just reading over some of this stuff. Like, skill rings, consumables, boss items, materials, and furnishings gone. They're not gonna be shared. Character growth will not be shared. Um, units will become armor that is not visible. Now, granted, you can stealth some of the units in, or you can stealth all the units in PSO2, but some people do use them for decoration,
aesthetics.
which I understand in New Genesis because you have so many more aesthetic options that why would you need to show your units? But there it says furthermore, similarly to weapons, their stats, augments, and potentials will change, and high rarity units may not be equipable until your character has reached a certain level. Come on, man, come on, dude. So I mean, to me, they have some pretty big shoes to fill.
they're gonna be it's like separating the two, but trying to say they're gonna be, alongside of each other. If the
We
other
tried
version,
separate but equal in America before.
it don't
Okay?
work like that. It's
It
not
don't
gonna work like that. It's either you're gonna
Separate but
want to
equal
play
don't work.
one or you're gonna want to play the other. That's really just what it's
Exactly.
gonna come down to. I understand them trying to cross the two, but when you have the overhaul of the graphics, and I guess they probably may have better weapons and on one side than they have on the other. I don't know. I don't know if that's really gonna work. Plus, you still have all the content from GP that you have to bring over to NA, and then you have to transfer that over into the new engine that you got going on. That's a lot to be going on at one time.
So
And then you got to break up into the frames of when they're going to release it.
okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. So, because that's the toxic Avenger, baby.
Toxic,
Toxic Avenger, baby. So from what they said, and what they said in the thing is that it's gonna be 1,000 years forward in the future. So like, yeah, it's gonna be side by side, but they're not gonna be crossing over. And then they even say that the changes to the game system, because PSO2, NGS, and PSO2 will have different game systems, some of the respective elements will be incompatible. The following points will summarize what we can announce at this time, and they announce them, what you just said: skill rings, consumable items, boost items, materials, furnishings, and such. Now, even though a lot of the photon arts and techniques that we are grown and loved and shit like that. I mean, they're still bringing a lot of the original elements. Like if you saw during the trailer, the when he was using his phone, or when the new character was using the photon arts, I mean, the icons were still essentially the same. Like, they might be slightly tweaked, but I mean, they're essentially gonna be the same. It's just because it's probably not gonna be able to work the same way in that regard, as far as the photon arts and the techniques, if you get what I'm saying, because it's going to be working off of PSO2. Everything is going to be working off of the old PSO2 engine versus probably the new shit that you could do now. Like, as you saw when, I think it was the Tekker that they showed off, the Tekker, the from the looks of it, the Tekker, the Hunter, and the Ranger. I think all three of them were using completely different movements. So you have to take into that perspective of why they're not bringing everything over. Now, you could probably be like, oh, well, play the game and just be like, oh, well, shit, this is almost like the same shit as, the original PSO2, which it probably is. It probably just have a different aspect to it. Like, you're probably sliding around. You're probably, doing a whole bunch of shit. If you put them side by side, PSO2 is extremely linear. You're not doing extremely fancy shit. You're only doing, when you want to shoot a weak point, you just shoot it. You click the photon art, you shoot it at whatever spot that you want to hit, and then boom, that's a weak point. But I mean, you have to look at it, of why they're not doing these things, because of how linear PSO2 is versus everything we're going to be able to do in New Genesis. Like, we're going to probably do some fancy shit. And the reason why, like, because I get what you guys are saying is that, well, you coming out with New Genesis, why would anyone want to play PSO2? But you have to also take into consideration, look at Call of Duty, multiple fucking Call of Duties. There's some people who don't move over to the next Call of Duty. They stay on the past year Call of Duty because they like that Call of Duty better. So, I mean, like, yeah, you got this new game, but there's going to be aspects about it. There's going to be things about it. Just the simple fact that XP, growth, class skills, photon arts, that might be just all deal breakers for some of these people who've been playing this game for years. It's huge deal breakers. And if they do decide to move over to New Genesis, then, they might not like the game. They might not like you said with the YouTuber that said that he doesn't like open world. That's probably not going to be his thing then. He's probably not going to move over. He's going to probably stay on PSO2. So, I mean, like, you have to make them the same but different, and I think that's why they're doing what they're doing, is to just not make it a upgraded carbon copy of PSO2. That's why they're actually doing an overhaul of the graphics in PSO2, so you can still enjoy PSO2 with better graphics versus just them forcing you to move over to New Genesis if you don't want to do that. So I get what they're doing.
Do we know if JP is going to be getting this before us? Because
They're
that
not.
would be like a blower.
No, they're not going to be I don't think they're going to be getting it before us. I think they're going to be getting it at the same time, because even though I'm pretty sure Xbox has exclusive rights, I mean, not say exclusive, but like they got first dibs, I don't think we'll be getting it before them because they also have another trailer out. They also have another trailer out where it's going to be not only on Xbox and PC, but it's also going to be on PlayStation and Nintendo. So
Yeah, I heard about that. They said
yeah,
it'll be on a Switch too.
yeah. So and your boy got a
Damn,
Switch.
for real?
So yeah. So
Yeah, I do too. But I'm
it's
wondering, are they going to let you connect your character through all those though? Or are you going to have a new character? Let's say I do have a Switch and I do have an Xbox. Am I going to have two different characters? Or will they have a central hub where you can connect them? Kind of like what Destiny did, where you can connect your character through all systems. Where
that's a
they
good
got,
question.
PS4, Xbox, or PC.
See,
Now,
it would be wise if they let you use your same character. When Final Fantasy 14 was released, you could play PC, PlayStation 4, and PS Vita. That and it would all be the same character. It would be very, very wise of them to do that.
Well,
because a
see,
lot of
not
people, what they could do is probably like the same thing Warframe did before when they moved over to the Xbox. They gave you like a time period where you had to register, I guess, to the website with all your information and link it. So the people who were playing PC for all this time can move their stuff. They would have the same character on and everything that they had accumulated on the PC to the Xbox, but they didn't do it for very long. I think they gave it like 2 weeks to a month. I mean, maybe.
well, see, now we're crossing over into another area. Is this going to be cross-platform? Because
I don't see why not.
I mean, I don't see why not either. But you see the issues that Let me not say you see the issues, but it's like it took years. It took years to get PlayStation on the bandwagon of cross-platform. Years. I mean, what
I think
fucking?
that has to do more with the business side of it.
Of
People
course,
not.
of course, of course. But at the same
Um,
time, PSO2 is huge out there, especially in Japan. It's huge. 8 years it's been running strong. Like, and the thing about it is that you got to take into consideration. That's a lot of money. Between AC scratch tickets, SG. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you're doing the whole 30 to 60 to 90-day premium thing. That's a lot of money. I'm pretty sure that they got. So it's and if
what
you're
PSO2 has done, I think, since it's free to play, they've done everything possible to make their money and make it count. Like with the aesthetics that people, you don't want your character to look like anybody else, so you're gonna spend your money. So they have the funds, and I think they've had the funds for a while to do the upgrades that they're doing. So I don't think the business side of it is going to come into play too much with the cross-platforming, because the money that PlayStation can get from the transactions, they'll get like a percentage off of their sales. Same thing with like Xbox is probably getting a percentage off the sales that they're making. As same thing with PC. So I don't see a real business side dragging down the cross playing for PSO2.
okay, okay. But the thing is that with them. So with them, shit, that's my phone. So with them, doing the whole upgrade thing, like cross-platforming, will possibly be a thing. They never said it yet, but there's a possibility. They didn't say it's not happening. But it comes another question, with them overhauling the graphics, will they lose money? Because you have to think, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a good bit of people that's been having the same conversations that we've been having about upgrading the graphics, but there's a lot of people who love the nostalgia of PSO2. They love the look. That's what makes PSO2 so different. Like, will they lose money from upgrading, from doing a whole overhaul? What if the people that's been playing this for years don't like the graphics, don't like the overhaul of PSO2? That's another thing that you have to take into consideration.
That's ooh, that's a stretch. That's a little far fetched for me because I don't know anybody who wouldn't want to see the weapon that they're holding in more detail, the streaks that they put in their hair in more detail, the straps on their boots in more detail. I don't know. I mean, unless you just
Their
scared of
female
change.
characters in more detail.
Exactly. Unless you just
Facts. I'm
are
playing devil's
not a fan
advocate.
of change. So
Yeah, I'm just playing devil's
I
advocate.
see where
You
you're
know.
coming from, but
Yeah.
I can't.
That is a stretch. Like, I don't want more of. I don't want more graphics. I want less. Just keep me where I'm at. I want to be playing Nintendo 64 graphics. Like,
We've all seen those people in town with the big, like, huge backs, 6, 7 pairs of wings on and stuff. Like, they gonna want more detail.
Okay. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, it comes, you know, that has to be a question that has to be brought up just because of the simple fact that you never know. You know, the player base, the player itself is fickle. It's fickle at best, you know, and when it comes to graphics, it all comes down to whether or not they like change with what they're doing. You know, if you've been playing this game for, you know, let's just throw it out there, like, I've been playing this game for 5 years on the JP server. You know, I haven't had any complaints as far as, you know, the graphics, blah, 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 blah. I love this game to death. I love the direction that they've been going with this game, and with, you know, introducing new bosses, new urgent quests, shit like that. You know, it comes to whether or not the player likes change or not. You know, I mean, of course, you would want to, you know, you'd want to see greater detail in your character. You'd want to see, you know, the woman's figure more high def. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like,
vividly?
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, of course you will want to see those things, but at the same time, it's the game itself as a whole, not just your character that's getting an overhaul. So, like, you know, what if you don't like the way it looks? You know, or what if you don't like the way that they're going with, you know, the overhaul? I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'm just raising possibilities that can be happening in the game, because you just never know. It could be a huge drop. You know, people could have been playing this game since it came out on JP, you know, and wham bam boom, you lose half of your fucking player base just because, you know, they were so they're used to it. They didn't mind the graphics being this old just because this game is this old. So that's all I was saying. But
if they don't include some of the more specifics, like, I could see a person who played JP version who's now on NA waiting for Phantom, and if Phantom wasn't in New Genesis, then I could see them staying with PSO2. Or if Eto'o or Hero Class wasn't in New Genesis, I could see them staying on PSO2. But for somebody newer like me, I didn't play the JP version. I played it when it came over here. I've never seen Phantom. I've only seen those in videos. So I haven't had the chance to experience the class. I wouldn't be missing out. I wouldn't be missing anything. I would actually just be moving to a better looking game that is more fluid and open world. So to me, that's a plus plus. But to somebody who has and knows what they're in store for, then yeah. So I can see what you're saying. I had to dig deep though to find those points to bring those out though.
Of course. So okay. So we gave our thoughts. You know, we talked about the possibilities. We talked about what we like and don't like, essentially. What were some of the new things that you noticed in New Genesis?
The glide. That was my first thing. I was like, oh
Yep.
shit, well maybe we won't need mounts.
I don't. Well,
Because typically with open
they.
world games, you have so much space,
Hmm.
they'll start to incorporate mounts. But if you got
Exactly.
that dash and that glide, maybe we won't need mounts. Plus, it'd be kind of tight to, get up a little bit higher than a double jump. You know what I'm saying? So that was the first thing I noticed. The second thing was the characters, the character creation. Because I was like, all right, see now they starting to move like some of the better looking games out here, some of the better looking MMOs. So that was the first thing, and that was the first and second thing. The third thing was the enemies in the open world. Like the way that there was a point where the dude engaged, just he dashed in a group of mobs, and it was light everywhere. It was red, and I was just like, yeah. Let me just hold on. I gotta calm down.
Yes.
It was
I'm about to
definitely
get
more
hyped.
It's
vivid.
just
I'm
like,
about to get hyped.
yes, that's exactly. I mean, but that's what you want in this type of game. You want the theatrics of the battle. Like you want,
Yes.
sparks flying. You want to see, the damage. You want your numbers. What they also need to incorporate. Hopefully, they listen to a lot. They need a damage meter during missions, or at least some type of calculator for doing
Like
while
an
you're doing
after,
missions. Just
like an
so you
after,
yeah,
like an after game, because they have that whenever you go back up to the arc ship, but it doesn't tell you like the calculation of damage that each person in your party did, which it would be a nice feature.
I mean, it's just to see where you're at, as in damage, where you can see like your progression from the damage you was doing when you were like 30 to 50, or even when you switch weapons, the damage that you're doing. That'd be a nice change also.
Now,
All I know is DYSTN is definitely going to play a big part in New Genesis. Definitely.
wait, what?
DYSTN.
EYS. Uh,
Do you see those numbers?
oh,
What?
Jesus Christ!
loud, man.
Oh my God!
Do you see those numbers? That's all I'm gonna say, dog. It's gonna be a big part of New
God
Genesis.
damn it! I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about?
He's horrible with abbreviations.
Yeah, man, come on.
Can't-
Shit, you can't be doing that to me, man. DYSD. God damn it. Well, so one of the things that I'm hoping that I noticed was a better way of switching between 3 weapons. Like that's one of the main things that I feel like PSO2 has had an issue with, was, especially if you're in mid-fight, you got to stop, you got to go on the directional pad and go up or down. Not saying that it takes long, but you have to stop what you're doing.
It takes long. Only thing, they have it this way because if you've watched streamers and people who play JP, or people who even just use keyboard, it's a much more seamless process because they have more button configurations to change and switch to another weapon. Like, I've watched countless streamers just switch between like 3 different weapons. One is they've used the force just to dash, and then they'll switch to the gunner and start shooting, and then switch to a melee to get in close. Like it's the limit of a controller, kind of.
I think that was a ploy, personally. I think it was a ploy just to to show us like, hey, we heard you. You want more fluidity. Here it is. You ain't gotta press up on the sub palette or down on the sub palette. It's right here for you. You know what I'm saying? Press like you're like while you're going, R like the right trigger or the left trigger and X, and it's a new weapon. The right trigger and Y is the other weapon. So I think that was just a ploy to be like, hey, we heard you and it's here. You know, I think that was just a real up close and personal message because I know what part you're talking about, and that camera angle was like behind him and right below his waist.
Yeah, like, and that's one of the things that, you know,
My
I
bad,
mean,
my mic, my controller died.
no, you're
But
good.
that what I was saying was that camera angle was like down and right below his waist, like right where his hand was switching from the gun to the sword. And I think it was just like purposely put there to show you, like, boom, it's gonna be free weapon changes in this.
I mean, the weapons changes. They. That's one of the, you know, things of the game that makes it PSO2 just different from other genres. You know, most genre RPGs, when you pick a class, you are stuck. That is what you play. That is what you're going to master, and that's basically it. As with PSO2, they give you free range to learn basically them all, and then learn the different combos that you can probably pull off with the different classes or the different weapons you have in tow. So, I mean, if it becomes much more free, the there won't be really rotations as the normal MMOs would have. Like you normally have a rotation where I'm gonna press this, then I'm gonna press that, then I'm gonna press this. This is gonna give me my maximum amount of damage. So with this, it's like I can go in there with a dual saber, hop back out, shoot my gun, and then hop back in with a katana, and the amount of damage you can do is just astronomical. So
True.
I hope they refine it and they make it a little bit more fluid, and I really just can't wait to test it out.
Now,
Same,
the
brother.
real question, with that is that are they gonna have a beta, alpha and a beta, and you know, for the people that will it be to the people, like to the players who, you know, like on the Xbox side who signed up for the alpha, because I know I did when it first came out for like those like 2 or 3 days that they, well, no, I think it was 2 days that they opened it. Oh, will they do it for NGS? You know, when it comes out for the Xbox, for the Xbox, because
I
they
got a
said that.
feeling they're not gonna beta it. I think they're gonna just throw it out there.
Me personally, I just think that's a stupid idea. Like, I feel like they need to test it. They need to make sure they need to make sure one that the common Xbox, god damn it, that fucking dog. One that the common Xbox, the consumer product Xbox, is going to be able to handle that, and two, having a high volume amount of players play that. Like, that's going to be something that they also need to test out, the durability of the server. Because if not, it's going to be just like this. It's going to be just like PSO2 with having a laggy server, and then they have to go through multiple maintenances of adding more. God, Jesus Christ, having more servers, and just going down for maintenance a lot more often.
Well, you can see they're already working on the new service. They look like they're preparing to launch the new ships. Um, Also, with you still have the blocks. So if you're in an area that's kind of really, really laggy for yourself, you can always switch to a block with less people, and try to limit your lag there. Now, if it's just the graphics are too much for the system, then that's going to be a whole different type of problem that they're going to deal with
Very true.
in general. Um,
Very true.
but I think with the multiple different ships that they'll be having coming, that should help. Maybe they'll have a system, a pay system where you can pay to switch your ship. You know, you might be in a high volume ship, and you want to go somewhere where there's not so many people. You want to switch it up, maybe like more like the World of Warcraft used to do, where you can pay to switch. But it looks like they're already making steps so they don't have that lag, and then that whole you're the 1,000th person trying to sign in, you need to wait in line type thing. Um, I think they've learned from that launch mistake that they have, and I think they're making the right steps in the right direction.
Well, the main thing is I hope, and this is just me, you know, and y'all can chime in, but my main thing is I hope that they don't make the same mistakes that Destiny 2 made, which was, having the formula, having the formula of a good game, only to regress it. If they regress shit, you saying nah, but
That's,
games have
they
done
didn't
it.
they didn't regress it. They tore it apart.
Facts.
Destiny 2, when it launched, was a far cry from what Destiny 1 and Destiny 1's greatness
Big
was
facts.
when it
But
first
but
came out.
we're going off of visuals, mind you. Like we haven't had our chance to play the game, so yeah, like the visuals are more dynamic. You're gliding. You got the photon dash and the photon glide, and you're fucking going in there. You looking like you're doing big hits, but at the same time, like, you know, will they keep the same formula? The UI looks almost similar, just a little bit more streamlined, uh, a lot more cleaned up, uh, but at the same time, you know, like that skill tree could be lacking a lot. That skill
I
tree could be lacking. What's up?
I kind of don't want them to. And I only say this because all three of us have noticed it. There have been a lot of inconsistencies, whether it's been with a noun or verb being changed in the tooltip between the JP version and the NA version or whatever. But like there's just inconsistencies all around. You had some people get confused between more potency versus more damage. Um, the some of the what is it the nemesis weapons and the slave weapons, some of them say increases potency, others say increases damage, and some people would get confused and think, all right, well, it says potency but they really mean power, or it says damage but they really mean potency. I i want this to be just a single great thing where there's no inconsistent. This damage just means damage all across the board. There's all right, cool. Potency and all that stuff. That's cool. That's in PS2. That's on them to fix and stuff like that. I need power to relate to how high my stats are, and I need damage to show me or to be the calculation of what my numbers will be based off my power. Potency, all this stuff with dex and how the more dex you add, it raises the minimum amount of damage you do. Like, come on, man. Just give me this single great thing with as little intricacies as possible, but still as much detail as possible. If that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't send me down a rabbit hole with trying to figure out whether I'm the strongest I can be or not, when you can make that plain and simple and still I can look as beautiful as I want to look. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I feel you.
I just don't like that, because that was going to be my one of my topics, and one of our past ITPs was damage versus potency versus power, and like what are the differences. I was actually going to do a giveaway off that, like for the best answer, just because it was so confusing to me. And I know if it's gotten me like this, it's probably got some other people like this. And I don't want to have to go back to the origin. I don't want to have to go back to the Genesis and the JP version of it, when it first came out, just to get the true meaning of something. Nah, man, just give us one version, whether it's across the planet, and share it with us or not. We all need to be on one page. Sorry, I got a little.
Now you're good. All right. Well, I mean, I'd say that was a good ending to to the topics, but yeah, I mean,
Like I'm about
I
to
got
shit to bed, man.
I ain't got nothing else to say on that one, but so first and foremost, so thank you for being our guest speaker on ITP, as well as your first
Bruh.
time popping that
You need to be
ITP cherry.
regular, dog.
He does
Stir
need
in
to
the
be a
pot.
regular. He does need to be a regular. I feel that. I've been told him he needs to be a regular. But Fresh, I'll let you kick off the endings.
Listen, everybody, thank you for tuning in for another session of ITP, Impromptu Tea Party Discussions. It is your boy, Fresh for Real, aka The Drunken Immortal, aka Houseway. Thank you. All right, check us out. We are trying to grow our channels. Me and Yink both. We are partners in this thing. Souls coming in, and we're trying to do great things for the community. All right, we got new Genesis coming out. This is going to be expanding. We're only going to grow more and more. So the more people on board, the better. All right, I need people by my side, not behind me. All right, thanks.
All right, so you want to do a little ending?
Keep it short and sweet. Thank you for having me. I will try to be a regular on here. I don't have a
Yep.
channel yet, but I'll be working on that. Thank you for having me. Far Rock America, I love y'all. I see you when I see you.
All right, like he said, yet I likes that. And this is your boy Yinko. Just want to say first and foremost, everybody that's been supporting not only my channel but Fresh's channel, really appreciate the love that you guys been showing us. If you see us on
Yes.
PSO2 and or New Genesis, because I will try to play both, just feel free to hit us up and say what's up. And if you want to play, just send a message. We're always willing to play with viewers, subscribers. It doesn't matter. Also, just be on the goal to 1,000. We're on the goal to 1,000 subscribers. I need you to hit that like button. Subscribe to our channels. Fresh's will be down in the description below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever the case is, just an opinion, put it down in the comment section below, and both me and Fresh will try to get to that as best as possible. I'm usually always lurking throughout my comments, so definitely pop into that bad boy and throw some opinions, throw some suggestions, throw some theories. We're always down to hear some new stuff. And if you have any ideas for any new content that you want to see, please put it down in our comment section below, and we will try our best. We will try our best to make that content a reality. So anyway, this is your boy
Also,
Yinko.
we both have giveaways coming up soon. Sorry.
Oh yeah. We got giveaways coming up soon. So definitely, if you're tuning, if you've been watching the whole thing, just be ready for that. But this is your boy Yinko, Fresh for Real, XO Reaper. Peace out, my ninjas.